Hey, thanks for wanting to know more about vSure. In the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a quick overview of why vSure and why now. Ultimately, vSure is a work rights compliance automation platform. What does that actually mean? Under the Migration Amendment Act 2013, you have the legal obligation to take reasonable steps at reasonable times to ensure your temporary visa holder workforce are maintaining their visas. What vSure has done is built an automation process for rechecking those temporary visas, alerting you to any changes, any expiries, or anything that may be a restriction that's been applied upon those visas, giving you peace of mind that you're being compliant and that your staff are maintaining their legal right to work in Australia. Secondly, under the Migration Amendment Act, when you onboard any new staff, whether they're an Australian citizen or non-citizen, you have the legal obligation to collect the paperwork that proves that status. An Australian citizen, that means collecting their passport information or their birth certificate plus photo ID or their citizenship certificate plus photo ID. In the case of a non-citizen, that means collecting their passport or IMI card information and performing a Vivo check. What we've done is we've streamlined that end-to-end process, pushing out an SMS or an email to the candidate. They snap a photo on their smartphone of that documentation. We automate the Vivo checks off the back end of the data that's stripped automatically from those passports, etc. What we've done is made that process an awesome employee experience, but also we've streamlined the administration around that initial right to work check. Thirdly, what we've done for the HR department, the payroll department, or whoever takes responsibility, is we've interpreted the visa codes. Often we get told that people go to the Home Affairs website and they might look up someone's work rights and it returns a visa code that they've never seen before. They then spend half an hour Googling visa codes trying to work out what that actually means. Well, what vSure does is we present a plain English definition of each of the visa codes and each of the work rights restrictions. So there's no doubt in your mind what the current work status is for that particular employee. Finally, and most importantly, we provide a seamless audit trail over your right to work obligations end to end. Should you ever get audited by the Border Force officers from Home Affairs, you have vSure as your backup secret weapon to show complete audit trail over doing the right thing and complying with your obligations.
So who is vSure? Well, vSure was started by this gentleman, Mark Webster. Mark's one of the most well-known migration experts in the country. He is a fellow of the Migration Institute of Australia and a former president of the Migration Institute of New South Wales. Mark started and ultimately exited one of Australia's largest migration firms, Acacia Immigration. Around 2012, Mark saw the proposed legislation that was to become the Migration Amendment Reform of Employer Sanctions Act 2013. And he saw a huge administrative burden being shifted upon his clients, some of the employers of Australia. He thought he'd try and solve for that problem, and thus vSure was born. vSure, as a software company, is focused on nothing but work rights compliance every minute since. So we are Australia's largest work rights compliance platform, and we automate far more than 1 million visa checks annually.
So we focus on work rights compliance and we're the best in the business at it. But why now? Well, ultimately there's a heightened awareness around work rights and work rights compliance in Australia right now, partly because of the COVID situation, but also because of some changes to technology that has happened at a compliance level. There's something called single touch payroll. The ATO implemented it in 2018 for employers with more than 20 staff and 2019 for those with less than 20 staff. What that means is your pay information is submitted to the ATO on your pay cycle. The ATO then has what's called a data sharing program with other government agencies. And that data sharing program has started with 3 particular departments, one being Human Services for family payments and monitoring of child support, 2 being Centrelink for management of disability services and unemployment benefits, and 3, and most important to this presentation, is Home Affairs and the monitoring of work rights. In the past, Home Affairs had to send a Border Force officer out to your workplace in order to check that the people being paid were actually legally allowed to work in Australia. Now all they do is they get the data from the ATO and they can cross-match to their own databases on who has the legal right to work in Australia. And voila, you have effectively a process of automated audits occurring in Australia moving forward. So because of that fact, more and more employers are aware of the need for vSure to ensure that you're not breaching your obligations, to take reasonable steps at reasonable times to monitor work rights within your organisation. Look, we've been doing this for 9 years, so we've got a raft of major brands and big clients and small clients who use our software to ensure their compliance every day of the week. We also work with a number of our competitors who use our technology in the back end, but also with the leading providers of services, both in the HR tech space and the pre-employment check space in Australia. We are dedicated to our clients, and it is at our core to ensure that we continue to improve our product and be the best in-class solution for this particular area of compliance. Ultimately, we have 4 products. This video really focuses on one of our products, vSure Enterprise, for the Australian employers. We do also offer an API for those who want to build their own technologies. We also have a white label solution for software vendors and migration agents to be able to distribute our product out to the market. And we also have a specific solution for higher education providers around monitoring of student visas. But this video really has focused on the vSure Enterprise solution. Ultimately, with the vSure Enterprise solution, you can do bulk VIVO checks, upload from a spreadsheet, run 100 VIVO checks in a minute, and you basically can use that to automate that process of monitoring the visas within your organization. Better than that, we can integrate the visa monitoring in with other areas of your system. So your HR technology or your rostering solution. So there's no uploading or downloading. It's a seamless integrated solution for monitoring your visas. So whether you're using a rostering system like HumanForce or Tanda or any of the others on the market, we can be ensuring that the visas are regularly monitored and updated into those systems, ensuring that you're not rostering those staff who don't have the legal right to work. Ultimately, we'd love to provide an end-to-end solution. So at the point of recruitment or onboarding, being able to send out an SMS, collect the right documentation, and automate everything off the back end of that. So the majority of our customers are now using the end-to-end, but you can use it in any way that you see fit. Ultimately, the workflow that most people implement with vSure is the right to work check happening at the end of the recruitment cycle before we start the onboarding, or it may be as a part of the onboarding process. We have integration with HRIS systems and onboarding solutions such as Flare, as well as PageUp and SuccessFactors, et cetera, whereby we can trigger a right to work check in vSure from either the onboard or the recruitment process. Finally, we then would update that information back into the HRIS or rostering system. So you're ensuring that that information is where it needs to be out to your operations staff. That if you have a venue that's rostering for next fortnight, they know whether this person's allowed to work because it's flagged within that rostering solution, etc. vSure integrates across the HRIS and rostering and payroll space. We have a raft of existing integrations, but we're also more than happy to build integrations at your request. We have a full seamless API with our ability to build the integrations. We know a lot of the HRIS and rostering solutions providers don't do the integration, so we will build that integration should you need it within your environment. Ultimately, the next step is to get a demo of vSure. You can just watch another video, or you can get a one-on-one session with someone like myself who can take you through our solution. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and hopefully you can click down below and give us your details and request a demo from here. Have a great day. See you.